Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Jayādvaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Prabhupada Padamhamsa Pariprajakacharya Ashto Tarasata Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you, Maharaj, and thank you everyone for joining us for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayādvaita Swami. It is Wednesday, October 12th in the Western world, and we're reading in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Tonight we're in chapter 9, starting off with verse number 7. Very eager to hear your questions and comments. And if Radhesha Prabhu is there and he's inclined to lead tonight's closing kirtan, that might be nice. Otherwise, if someone else is, please let me know and we'll facilitate. And thank you so much for being with us, Maharaj.
Thank you, Kendra Prabhu. And Radhesha is on board. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Daivenate hatadiyo bhavata prasangat sarva shubho pashamanad vimukhendriyaye kurvanti kama sukalesha lavaya dina lobha vibhuta manaso kushalani shashvat. O my Lord, persons who are bereft of the all-auspicious performance of chanting and hearing about your transcendental activities are certainly unfortunate and are also bereft of good sense. They engage in inauspicious activities, enjoying sense gratification for a very little while. Purport. The next question is why people are against such auspicious activities as chanting and hearing the glories and pastimes of the Lord, which can bring total freedom from the cares and anxieties of material existence. The only answer to this question is that they are unfortunate because of supernatural control due to their offensive activities performed simply for the sake of sense gratification. The Lord's pure devotees, however, take compassion upon such unfortunate persons and in a missionary spirit try to persuade them into the line of devotional service. Only by the grace of pure devotees can such unfortunate men be elevated to the position of transcendental service. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Jaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Sthapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kamshana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Holi Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Daivena te hatadiyo bhavata prasangat sarvaj shubho pashamanad vimukendriyad ye kurvanti kama sukalesha lavaya dina lobha vibhuta manaso kushalani shashvat. In previous verses, we've heard of the glories of the Lord and the benefits of hearing and chanting about the glories of the Lord. And so the question comes, why would any intelligent person not take to this path of hearing and chanting about Krishna? So the answer given is, well, first, let's look again at these glories of the Lord. Sarva Shubho Pashmanad, the topics of Krishna. Sarva Ashubha Upashamanad. They can curb down everything inauspicious, everything unfortunate. Sarva Ashubha can be, curbed down by hearing the glories of the Lord. So why are we not doing that? Diving by supernatural force, or one could say by the will of God, diving by fate. Then, or the Prabhupada gives by fate of misfortune, Divena. But what is that fate? Why should fortune be working against these people? Or why should God be working against them? And the answer is vimukha, that they turn their faces against the Lord. Mukha means face, vimukha means turning our face against, turning away from the Lord. There are those who are, and what is that? Akushalani Shashvat. They're always engaged in akushalani, in akushala activities, inauspicious activities. In other words, Prabhupada, as Prabhupada would say, man is the architect of his own fortune. We were hearing earlier in the second canto or third canto also, how the cosmic, what was it? The cosmic egg, with the bud of the lotus flower had turned blue because of the inauspicious activities of the living entities. They hadn't even gotten started yet. The creation hadn't begun, but already their own misfortune was setting the course for the universe. So that misfortune is carried over from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. The Anadi Bahirmukh Jeev, Bahirmukh and Vimukh mean the same thing. Anadi Bahirmukh Jeev, Bhogavansakara, Nikatastha Maya Tare Japati Atari. So Maya is slapping the conditioned souls because of their turning away from Krishna. And why do the living entities turn away from Krishna? Or what do they hope to get? Kama Sukha Lesha, Lavaya, Dina. Dina means these poor, wretched fellows. Dina. Kama Sukha. They're after sex life and the satisfaction of material desires, sense gratification, kama sukha, for that happiness. And what kind of happiness is that? Lesha, lavaya. Lesha means remnant, the scraps, what's left. Just slim pickings, we would say. Kama sukha lesha, some slim pickings of some scraps of sense gratification. Lavaya, which one gets for just a moment. Lava means lava matra, yeah. Lava means of just a moment. A little sense gratification just for a moment. All that big hoopla about sense gratification, all that big hoopla about the joys of sex. And it turns out to be just a little momentary pleasure. But lobha abhibhuta, one is greedy for sense enjoyment. Lobha, we hear how our goal is to develop lobha, greed for Krishna consciousness. But how can there be greed for Krishna consciousness when we're overwhelmed, abhibhuta, lobha abhibhuta, by a greed for material enjoyment? It's contradictory. What is that? It's Jayādvaita samutena. Dvanda mohena. Sarva bhutani sammoha. Sarve yanti. Everyone is thinking in material life with these thoughts of let me enjoy and being envious of Krishna. Why should I be a servant? I can be the master. Why should I give enjoyment? I can enjoy. So with this inauspicious mentality, lobha, abhibhuta manasa, the mind is the center of everything. The mind, we hear, can elevate one or degrade one. So the uncontrolled mind becomes the source of degradation, and not only in one life, but in life after life. And therefore, Daivena Atadiya, Prabhupada Atadiya would just means bereft of intelligence, but in the word-for-word meaning, in the translation, bereft of good sense, atadiya, bereft of good sense, and in the word-for-word meaning, bereft of memory. So we've forgotten Krishna, Anadi Bhairuji, since time immemorial, and therefore bereft of good sense. We're unfortunate, engaging in inauspicious activities, and all we get is a little scrap of sense gratification sometimes, and only briefly. Any comments or questions? Oh, Saraswati has. Before we get to Saraswati's question, the Prabhupada points out in the purport that the pure devotees take compassion on such unfortunate persons. In a missionary spirit, they try to bring them to Krishna consciousness, devotional service. So this is crucial. It's not just that we're interested in condemning such fools, you fools, but the purpose is, we're not fools, we're intelligent. But the purpose is to bring them around to the service of Krishna, so that they won't be unfortunate. All right, let's see what Saraswati has to say. In preaching, often we're confronted with people that find every reason or excuse imaginable for why they cannot accept Bhakti Marg. A common answer is, since they have no experience of Ananda, spiritual bliss, they can hardly be blamed for going for the second or third class of temporary material happiness, which is at least immediately available and accessible. They say they cannot miss something. They have never missed something they've never experienced. Today, I was listening to Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj speak about how absolutely nothing can compare to the missionary activities of selfless devotees of Krishna, since they are setting, guiding, carrying, directing a conditional jiva on Bhakti Marg to get out of the fort of Durga Devi, the prison house, and permanently be free from this material, miserable material body once and for all. So cannot compare their service to any material benevolent activity. Yes, first of all, yes, any excuse for not being Krishna conscious. If we defeat them on one point, they have another point. You defeat them again, they have another. Srila Prabhupada called them stubborn and obstinate. It's for their benefit, but they refuse because of this unreasonable unwillingness to serve the personality of God. Daivena, that's as if they were controlled by a supernatural force, so that they're not able to take the Krishna consciousness. And Srila Prabhupada said because of their sinful activities. So their sinful activities prevent them from becoming Krishna conscious. Their lack of Krishna consciousness causes them to continue in sinful activities. So they're in this circle, just going around in circles. And the devotees are so kind that they try to free them from this. As far as the idea that it's only reasonable that since I have no experience of bliss, I might as well go for the second or third class thing. That's very foolish. Since I have no experience of tasty food, I might as well eat junk or poison. That's just foolish. We're offering that here's tasty food, you take it. No. How do I know that it's tasty? I don't trust you. No, you try it. No. That's their stubbornness. If they would simply take it. But no, we're not going to take it. Well, that's the stubbornness referred to here, the misfortune. And if it's not, then what can we do? There are others who will say, all right, let me try it. There are those who are, anyway, it came from a different context. We always want to reach the person furthest away and bring him to Krishna consciousness. But it's easier to bring the person who's close. If someone's a little inclined, a little favorable, then that person can come over. And the person next to him can then come over, and the person next to him. We're happy if we can reach the person furthest away. But the guy who's in the brothel and drinking like a fish and gambling and so on, he's maybe less likely to come. But at least those who are a little fortunate, who show some interest, interest, ado shraddha, they can come. The devotees are kind. They don't give up even on the guy in the brothel or the casino. But those who've shown a little interest, what are you people doing? Those people especially deserve attention. Anything else? Okay. Shrutrit Shrithatubhir Imamuhur Arjamana Shitoshnavata Varashar Itere Terachcha Kam Agnina Chutarusha Sudurpare. No, that doesn't work. Karnagnina Chutarushacha Sudurparena Sampashyato Mana Urukrama Sidate Me. O great actor, my Lord, all these poor creatures are constantly perplexed by hunger, thirst, severe cold, secretion and bile, attacked by coughing winter, blasting summer, rains, and many other disturbing elements, and overwhelmed by strong sex urges and indefatigable anger. I take pity on them, and I am very much aggrieved for them. Purport. A pure devotee of the Lord like Brahma and persons in his disciplic succession are always unhappy to see the perplexities of the conditioned souls who are suffering the onslaughts of the threefold miseries pertain to the body and mind, to the disturbances of material nature, and to many other such material disadvantages. not knowing adequate measures for relieving such difficulties. Suffering persons sometimes pose themselves as leaders of the people, and the unfortunate followers are put into further disadvantages under such so-called leadership. This is like a blind man's leading another blind man to fall into a ditch. Therefore, unless the devotees of the Lord take pity on them and teach them the right path, their lives are hopeless failures. The devotees of the Lord who voluntarily take the responsibility of raising the foolish materialistic sense enjoyers are as confidential to the Lord as Lord Brahma. The missionary spirit is further described here. The Lord Brahma and the devotees in his line feel sorry. They see what's going on with these conditioned souls, and they don't think, oh, I could have been enjoying like that, or I wish I could enjoy like that, or why am I restricting myself, or why this or that. They're thinking, these poor slobs, these poor fools. Maya Sukhaya Paramudhato Vimurta Pralamarsis. These fools are bewildered by the illusory happiness of Maya, and creating a burdensome way of life for themselves, a life full of perplexities and difficulties. So the devotee feels for these people. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjana sukham vayadiva dukkam sayogi paramomta. After completing the description of the yoga system, Lord Krishna describes the best yogi. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjana. He sees all others in relation to his own self, or by comparison to his own self. Atma upamayena. By comparing, I was suffering like this. I can relate to that. I can understand something of how they're suffering because I was suffering like that. And I can understand what kind of enjoyment they're getting because I was getting some enjoyment. Atmopamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjana sukham vayadi vaduk. Sayogi paramo. So he's the best yogi. He sees others, atmavat sarvabhuteshu, to be like himself, and therefore he wants to help them. What is their condition? Kshutrit tritatubir ima muhur arjamana. Arjamana means perplexed. Be interesting to look and see what Monia Williams says, but we'll perplexed is good. Kshutrit tritatubi ima. All of them are afflicted by hunger, by thirst, tridhatubi, and by the body itself, the kunape tridhatuke, this body ruled by mucus, bile, and air, which go out of whack and cause all kinds of miseries. And Shita, Ushna, Vata, Varashai, lasting summer, freezing winter, cold winds, rain, all. Therefore, we have air conditioning. because it's too hot, it's too cold. And the air conditioning also creates more problems. Further sets the body out of whack. And iteratat, iterataracha, and other disturbances. Itera means other. But iterat, I think Vishwanath says by other living beings. Itera. Nature is causing us disturbances, and other living beings, especially other people, our wives, our husbands, our children, our other relatives, our enemies, our friends. They cause so much trouble. To say nothing of mosquitoes and monkeys and dogs and whatever, viruses. So these are disturbances. And kama agnina achutarusha cha sudurbarena. And these are miseries caused by our own bodies and minds. Kama agnina, the fire of material lust. What a dushpurena analena in the Bhagavad Gita. And achuta rusha is unconquerable anger. We just can't stop it. Just as sexual desire may come as just an urge, a rush, a super powerful force. More powerful is the force of anger. Someone suddenly becomes angry, and then it's like unstoppable. The person who's angry can't stop himself. And later, I killed my wife. He has like 40 years in prison to think about it, but it was just, he was overwhelmed by anger. And either he spoke something harsh, and now he's destroyed a friendship or destroyed his opportunity for advancement in some line, because he couldn't control his speech. Or he couldn't, in one way or another, couldn't control his anger. Couldn't control his lust. So these things are difficult. But we were reading in the previous verse, upashamana. Upashama, they can be pacified, they can be curbed down by hearing and chanting of the glories of Krishna. But if we're not willing to do that, then this mess continues, and all we get are do-gooders or hypocrites. The do-gooders are genuinely trying to do something good for others. They're trying to be benevolent, but they're lacking in knowledge or lacking in pious credit. So they think that doing good is providing food, providing mundane education, providing clothes, and providing housing, providing birth control, providing this, providing that. They don't really know the need of the living being. They don't even know that he's what he is. They just see his one life and his bodily existence, and they think that's everything. And they're trying to help. And then there are others, they're just hypocrites. They give some they mouthed some words about benevolence and helping others and conquering poverty and having a better life. And it's just so that they can continue their life of pickpocketing and occupying positions of power and wealth. And they feed you some platitudes about progress and democracy and freedom and a better life and equality and whatever else you want to hear. They're ready with those kinds of words, something that you can put on a flag and wave. And meanwhile, they're just rogues and thieves. So they're one kind, and the other are sincere, but bewildered. Neither of them will help us. Andayatandaya upaniyamana. Anandashesh says, Adi Daivik, Adi Admik, Adi Bhutik, Bhotik. Dekendra.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. As you were reading, I was thinking about what's being said in these verses by Lord Brahma. He's expressing his profound compassion for suffering living entities and the people that are all wrapped up in foolish pursuits. And you had mentioned in your talk how we once we get a glimpse of the absolute truth, it's not that our business becomes to say, oh, we are now intelligent and everyone else is foolish, but rather to bring those misguided persons into line so that they get a chance to themselves become intelligent. And I was pondering how there's like 3 levels of unlimited ways you can split it up, but on one level, you're the foolish person, and then you get the grace of some devotee, you get some intelligence, you get a window into transcendence, and then you become a little intelligent. And then you make further progress, and you become compassionate. At least I've seen this take place in my own consciousness, and I was wondering whether you might be inclined to comment on what is that dividing line, or what is that extra step that is required for devotees to not just become less foolish, but to genuinely become compassionate and to really feel the way that Brahma is expressing himself and want to make their lives a missionary act.
Well, one thought would be that it's realization and mercy, or realization of mercy. As you were speaking, I was thinking about Srila Prabhupada and how he said that people like his purports because they're realized. And I was thinking, a scholar might translate these verses and might offer comments, but his comments would be nothing like this. It wouldn't be about how Brahma's feeling compassion and how there's a missionary spirit and how those who are following Lord Brahma try to uplift them, and how they become as dear to Krishna as Lord Brahma. They become dear to Krishna by trying to uplift others. No scholar would do that. They would write something else. But Srila Prabhupada, as we see by his life, had that missionary spirit, that desire to, that powerful desire to uplift others. And that communicated itself to his followers. I think, when we first come, we just want some bliss, we just want some relief, we just want some knowledge, whatever it might be. That's what we come for. And we may not come with the idea of, I want to join a missionary movement. Where's a movement I can join that'll endorse my going out on the street and going from house to house or person to person and asking them to take up this path? That's perhaps not what we came for. But the Acharya, or Srila Prabhupada, out of his compassion, does that for us, and then urges us to do that for others. Why is ISKCON so busy, so obsessed with preaching, with distributing books, with spreading Krishna consciousness? Because Prabhupada taught us that. He urged us to do that. He said, if you feel indebted to me, this is what you should do. So so that mercy is there from Prabhupada, from Lord Brahma coming down through Prabhupada. That mercy is there. And that, you could say, plea is there, that you please give this to others. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching this Bhaktivinoda Thakur. It's coming down. Don't be satisfied just with your own bhajan, but share this with others, and you'll become more dear to Krishna, and you'll bestow upon them such good fortune. So evam parampara praptam, it comes down. And if we follow, if we read these books, if we associate with the devotees, if we're in touch with those who have this missionary spirit, then it can communicate itself to us. And as you say, by gradual development, at first we're just, the food is good, and so we come for the Sunday feast. And then maybe the books are good and we come for knowledge. But then this is something that I have to give to others, in part by the urging of the Acharya, by the spiritual masters pushing or inspiring us, and in part by our realization, if something's good, you want to give it to someone else. If I bought a new cell phone and it's like fantastic and I'm getting so much out of it, then I want to tell someone else, I just got this. It's great. You should get this. That's natural. If we're enthusiastic about something, we find something that we like, we think, let me tell others. There's a happiness in that. We don't want to just have something good. We want others to recognize that it's good and also take it. And then when they say, yeah, it was really good. Yeah. And we become happy that they also got some happiness. We become more happy when others have the same experience. Whatever it is that we see. And of course, that's working materially also. The fools are eager to initiate other fools into all sorts of foolish attempts to be happy. So Maya is working on the same principle of experience and enthusiasm. But the experience of the devotees on a transcendental level. We're not, if the materialists were honest about their experience, I got this new thing because the old thing was like, nah, it really didn't do much for me anymore. I have a new philosophy because the old philosophy wasn't really working. have a new girlfriend because the old one turned out to be a bitch, and knew this and knew that. Guna punas charvata charvanana. They're blind men leading other blind men. But the devotees are getting knowledge from Lord Brahma, from the personality of Godhead. And they have practical experience that this is not the kind of happiness with a letdown that we get from Maya, Lesha, Lavaya, just some scraps of happiness that don't last. But this is Brahmasokyam Tvananta. And this is the happiness which is eternal.
Prabhupada said I was enthusiastic in hearing and
Yeah, Prabhupada said I was enthusiastic in hearing, so now I'm enthusiastic about chanting or preaching. Yeah. Yes. There's a comment from Haridas. It seems sometimes Srila Prabhupada's followers do missionary work, whether they feel like it or not, simply out of gratitude and duty to him. And that could be in any position of service that furthers the missionary activities, including maintaining temples, guiding a family, etc. Prabhu Datta Desh is Prabhu Datta Deshas seem to vary greatly in size. Yes, some are enthusiastic about preaching, serving, and some are, well, Guru Maharaj wants me to do it. Guru Maharaj wants me to do it. So out of obligation, just as in sadhana, there's a stage where there's just, well, it's obligatory, this is what I have to do. Maybe there's a book I have to sign to show that I came to Mangal Arati. So I have to do these things. And later there's enthusiasm. We're running to come to Mangal Arati because we're eager to be there. So with preaching also, sometimes it's like, well, yeah, it's my duty, it's what I'm supposed to do. It's what everybody's doing. It's what, the van's leaving at such and such time and I have to be there. Kind of routine obligation. But then there's also enthusiasm where one can't wait to get out. And then as Haridas Prabhu says, it's not only the frontline preachers, but those who are supporting the preaching in some way. Maybe they're the cooks, maybe they're the pujaris, maybe they're doing other kinds of service. But that's also counted. That's also counted. I missed a comment by Surabhi Kunj. Okay, let's go up and see what I missed. Vaisheshika Prabhu. Yes, I was thinking about Vaisheshika Prabhu. Vaisheshika Prabhu advises that in preaching, we should pick the ripe fruit first. The people already inclined to spirituality. And for the unripe fruit, we leave them until they ripen over time. Yes, this is just practical. The Ravindra Swarup Prabhu told a story that Tamal Krishna Goswami came to Philadelphia with the Radha Damodar party, and there was a Ratha Yatra or some festival like that. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj said that when I approach people, at the festival site, people are sitting around and taking prasadam and whatever they're doing. he said that when I approach people, I ask them, how do you like the prasadam? And if they say that they like it, then I preach to them. And if they say, yeah, then I go on to the next person. So Rabindra Swarup Prabhu related that at that festival, he found a person who was really intelligent, and he had all sorts of questions. And they got into a long discussion about this and that and this and that. But the guy didn't really like the prasadam. And at the end of the discussion, it was like, thanks for spending an hour or so with me. But it was just talk. And see you later. So yes, we look for those who are interested. Why neglect? If somebody's interested, why should we be spending our so much time on those who have no interest at all, to the neglect of those who may be inclined? It's just pragmatic. It's just pragmatic. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, maybe it's in Life and Precepts, that Krishna consciousness is like an electric current communicated from one sympathetic soul to the next. So if someone's a little sympathetic, a little interested, has a little attraction, then we're especially keen to invest. This person has a little interest. And still, you don't know who may be interested. You look at some person and we were talking about this yesterday, person seems most unlikely to have anything to do with Krishna consciousness. It seems like he's way out there. And then by scratching the surface a little bit, you find out that he's willing to give so much of his life for the service of Krishna. So that also requires a kind of vision. Like Srila Prabhupada, he came to America, and what did he see? These useless, crazy, sex addicted, drug addicted, what's the word? Vagabonds. But they came. Somehow or other, they came to hear him. They showed some interest. So Prabhupada didn't write them off. Batch of hippies, batch of machos, batch of this, that. Some interest is there. And Prabhupada said this is Krishna consciousness, or this is expertise to see some little spark and to fan that spark. So the devotees, so it's practical that we try to see where the wood is dry, where the fruit is ripe. But at the same time, we're not omniscient, and we give everyone the chance to express some interest, to become attracted. Saraswati says, I've also seen interested people come to bhakti, and then due to offenses or inconsiderate behavior or of other devotees, they get turned off and cannot get over this. That also may happen. Therefore, if someone comes after so much effort, we induce someone to come, then we don't want to neglect them or mistreat them. We want to give them a wonderful experience of Krishna consciousness. And not just as a show, but we want to have a genuine culture of affection and appreciation of those who've taken to Krishna consciousness. Not that we just put on smiles and happy promises to newcomers, and then when you come, we treat you like dirt. That genuine feeling for devotees should be there. That if someone's given his life to the service of Krishna, what a special person that is. Prabhupada said about devotees that they're like bomber pilots. During World War II, it seems, the British and others, I suppose, were protective of their bomber pilots because they were trained with great investment of time and so on. So a bomber pilot, if you lost one, it was a big loss. So they would try to protect their bomber pilots and not lose them. So similarly in Krishna consciousness, we don't want to lose a devotee, and any devotee, and especially a devotee who's given so much of his life. Then we just sort of write you off. Well, you did this, it's over for you. You gave your whole life, but then you made a mistake. So, we're strict around here. We don't tolerate mistakes. There was one devotee, he was the temple president of Detroit, and he'd, by his efforts, we'd gotten the present Detroit temple building and dedicated person. But the local devotees replaced him with someone else. And when Prabhupada came, he just totally disagreed. That where is this devotee? Well, Srila Prabhupada, we thought, well, Prabhupada, he wasn't chanting his 16 rounds, so how could he be temple president? How do you know he wasn't chanting? Are you chanting? Well, Prabhupada, he wasn't following the four. We don't think he was following the four. How do you know? Are you following? Whatever they said, he shut them down. He said he has gotten his temple, and now he has gone away disappointed. That's what Prabhupada saw. He didn't see that he broke this rule, or he's not following that rule, or this or that. He's given his life. And now he's disappointed and he's gone away. So we should be so careful and so concerned and sympathetic. Atmopamyena sarvatra, samam pashati arjuna, sukham bhaya. We should have empathy for the devotees. We should feel atmavat sarvabhuteshu, that if we should feel that all living beings are like ourselves, we can't even think of all living beings, but at least the devotees, and especially the devotees that are near us, we should feel for them. All right, we're 2 minutes over time. We should stop here. And Radhesha, you've been asked to lead.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Jai Srimad Bhagavatam Pariprajna Ashtottara Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Shamraj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vansari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath. Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Ki Jai. Gangopai Ki Jai. Ramanapai Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Thank you to all, and especially thanks to the Holiness. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Wonderful class.
Thank you, Dr. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Haribol.
Haribol. Thank you.
What a fine ending to that class. That was amazing.
God bless you.
Thank you everyone for being here. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayādvaita Maharaj Ki Jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande. Haribol.
We'll go see you, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna.